Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You are tuned in to the Vitamin D with Dawn Dai podcast, and I am your host, Dawn Dai, here to get you excited about your life so that you can live life on purpose and for a purpose. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. Vitamin D, it's a pun of my name. My name is Dawn, and you get vitamin D from the sun, so I'm here to shed light into your life. And I do this with inspirational insights and conversations with celebrities and everyday people like you and me. Because if you want to be better and you want to do better, then you're going to have to be able to see better. So join me on this journey of living our best lives and understanding and realizing how you are your greatest asset. All right. So we're back. Vitamin D with Dawn Dai is here, and I'm reporting to you live from my home, not the studio. No, we are not in Studio E. Jeremiah got COVID. Yes, child. And he's doing fine. Well, what I mean by fine is that we're on Zoom right now, so I can see him. He's giving me signals. He's sending me notes, and he looks good. Said he has been experiencing, a little irritable in the stomach, a few headaches, but not taken all the way out. So, and headache and your eyeballs hurt? Oh, he says eyeball. Oh, those are the worst. I remember when I was younger, and I would get headaches a lot when I was younger. And it's nothing worse than like that sinus headache when you move your eyeballs to the left and the right. That might be grounds for like a fever, I think, if I'm not mistaken. He says maybe. Okay, well, either way, that's why I'm at home, not in the studio. So we're doing what we got to do. And even being at home, I had a moment of gratitude. Sometimes, we have to sit back, sit down, and take a look around at what's going on and what's happening around us. And, I made mention of it before, but now I guess, it's important to revisit and see things again. I was recording some auditions, and even as I'm thinking about how I'm recording to you now, I was recording some auditions. And I'm in my bedroom, aka my multi-million-dollar studio, aka closet. And I got my mic stand. I got my mic, it's official. And I was like, wow, Dawn, we really progressed. Because I remember when I was rocking with a USB mic, and I had it plugged with my PowerBook G4 under my comforter at 582 St. Nicholas Avenue. Was it 502B, if I'm not mistaken? Yeah. And I'm like, I'm up here standing, using my microphone. Soon I'm going to be in my studio. And then soon it's going to be the multi-million-dollar studio on the yacht. But nevertheless, I wanted to say that there's growth. And I'm grateful for that. And as I'm growing even more, I realize that patience is so important to me, along with accompanying it with vulnerability. I said before, vulnerability is your source of power. It is a means to connect. And for so many years, I've prided myself on communication, not even factoring in how important being vulnerable is. I mean, that's how you're showing yourself who you are. And it's so damn uncomfortable. I was on this hike at Heroine, and this gentleman and this guy we met at this Black Excellence brunch. And we just connected. Not too much was exchanged. We just started following each other on social media. And it's like, hey, let's work out together. And we finally linked up. I hadn't seen him in months, 4 or 5 months. Definitely changed. Got, hair more blonde. Hair is blonde. Shed some pounds. I'm looking good. But that's neither here nor there. I'm just saying time has changed, or time has went on. But I was so grateful for the walk because, one, I thanked him for creating space for me to be me, meaning I'm turned up. I'm turned up on 50 billion. And for somebody to affirm that they see you and then allowing that space, he talked about, like, I'm a fire sign, and he says how water surrounds him. And for me, I like to be around water. Water calms me down. You always hear me talk about my yacht because it's on the water. I want my home by the water, or at least to have the view of the water. It just makes me feel good. So, we were talking, and he said like his strength is his level of vulnerability, and I had a chance to practice with that. So I just want to encourage you to really step forth with vulnerability and showing up so you can show out. being honest with how you feel, feeling those uncomfortable moments. Because even in the midst of saying, I'm being vulnerable, like it felt so weird inside. But I know I got to take this to the next level. You think I'm out here working my ass off in the gym and walking and doing all this to not have all this package come together? The signs are aligning. Things are affirming. So I got to speak that over myself. And I want to say this other thing. Don't forget to gas yourself up. You gonna have to look in the mirror and say, I'm the shit. I came across this video of 50 Cent. And he was talking in this interview and he was like, yo. I mean, he really didn't say, yo, that's me saying yo. But he was like, people think the way that I speak, like I'm being arrogant or narcissistic. He was like, but you gotta understand what it took for me to believe in myself this much to make it happen. He said, I believe you can will things to happen, to come true. We heard this before. Life and death are in the power of the tongue. You can speak life, affirmations, claim it. And I said, wow. You know, I be saying I'm gonna be fine. I talk about a multi-million-dollar studio. I say I'm gonna be bigger than Oprah. I'm talking about how I'm gonna be on SNL. I'm calling it forth. I'm bigger than Oprah. I'm calling it forth.
Get your vitamin D right here with me and get excited about your life.
Now, with that being said, it's Black History Month. Hey. Happy Black History Month. Although some people are calling it Black Future Month. I think of it that way. Some of the downside of history as far as the mistreatment of a lot of African Americans and people of African descent, you know, people kind of want to say, well, what's coming ahead? But, you know, oftentimes it's so important just to look back to know what you're looking forward to. And although this isn't starting off on great news, I did want to highlight this story that I came across. On the first day of Black History Month, did you hear about the 14 HBCUs who received bomb threats? Yeah, my alma mater, Howard University, Coppin State, Jackson State, Mississippi Valley State, Morgan State, Alcorn State, Tougaloo College, Kentucky State, Fort Valley State, Spelman College, Xavier University, University of District Columbia, Edward Waters, and Rust College all received bomb threats on the first day of Black History Month. Now, they say that majority of the threats were made in the morning, and it was good to hear from a few of the students who shared their concerns and like their reaction towards the threats. Sajan Boyd, a 19-year-old student from Spelman, she says, I'm just ultimately tired of dealing with this level of unsolicited hatred. I'm just tired of being terrorized like how my grandparents were. Ain't that something? We are in the 21st century. And we still talking about experience hatred based on the color of our skin. And that sits strong with me because being a graduate from Howard University, I didn't even realize some of the things that I was affected by or things that were said that were probably a bit racist until I went to Howard University. Things that I didn't understand. And knowing the leverage of the richness of the history that not only affected African Americans, but the world, and how when you look at it historically, a lot of the books, everything has been deleted and destroyed to disconnect us from our history. And here we are at a time of these universities, these institutions that were established so that we could have a place of our own to know that there's a possibility or a threat that here we are in the 21st century that somebody wants to blow it up. There was another student, Calvert White, 22-year-old student. He's from Jackson State. He says, HBCUs have a long history of physical threats just because of our existence. I think that threats aren't individual or coincidental, that it's a clear attack on Black students who choose to go to Black schools. That definitely can make sense. I mean, think about it. 14 schools, it's not like it's just one. This was clearly a moment, you know? It's coincidental. It is Black History Month. Individual, no, 14. It's the moment of persevering. And it's sad, but it's true. But none of this is new. We're going to keep on keeping on. And it's important that we're aware of what's going on. And that we continue to have these uncomfortable conversations because it's so important that people can be understood and therefore allowing others to understand. And the pride is so strong when I think about being a graduate from Howard Because I can stand on any part of the yard and look at pictures from 60, 80, damn near 100, but not really 60, 80 years ago, with people who have made history. People who have stood for people of this country, people who look like me that has made a change, made a difference. In fact, the first African-American radio broadcaster broadcasted from Howard University. Hello, Hal Jackson. Do you know I had the honor, the pleasure to work with Mr. Hal Jackson? Yes, when I lived in New York at WBLS. And you want to know the craziest thing? I regret it to this day. I can't understand it. We were in New Jersey. It must have been a BLS. Wow, I just got goosebumps. It must have been a BLS holiday, Christmas party. I think it was a Christmas party or something. We were at the casino and he was sitting right there. Now, mind you, he's been at the station a few times. But I remember in my head, I said, wow, I should take a picture with him. And I was like, oh, I don't want to do too much. And I be damned. Rest in peace, Hal Jackson. But so when you ask me, or when I think about like, why do I have such pride in that? Because I get to follow in the footsteps of people that paved the way for me. And I guess I didn't think about it. It just made me a little emotional because keep going. Keep going. Ooh, okay, let's shift it up. That was a sour note as far as what's happening with the schools. Bittersweet, but good. I got some good news.
Hello, it's your girl, supermodel Miss Lyris Cross, representing all my curvy girls out there.
Hey, what's up? It's me, Deja Vu, and you are tuned into Vitamin D with Dawn Dai.
Shout out to a USPS postal worker. She helped to save the life of an elderly woman. Her name is 𝘋𝘢𝘸𝘯. She lives in Newmarket, New Hampshire. She's a USPS worker who noticed that there was mail piling up at one of her normal stops. Now, she could have just dismissed it, but she was thinking like, oh, she usually talks to this resident while on her route. And when she started not to see them, she was like, oh, I'm a bit concerned. And when she was asked about what happened, she said, actually, I hadn't seen her in a while and I noticed her mail wasn't getting picked up. So I got a little concerned. I just had a gut feeling and I just wanted to make sure she was okay. So she went ahead and she requested a wellness check, and the authorities found that the elderly woman was trapped. It was some artwork and some frames down her wall that had fell on top of her. And she was down for 3 days and suffering from hypothermia and dehydration. Now, thankfully, the woman was unharmed. She was taken to the hospital. And yes, she is expected to be all right. But thank God, shout out to Kayla that you listened to your gut. How many times have you listened to your gut or you didn't and wish you had of? I think it's important to be in tune. And when you get those gut feelings, that intuition, follow it. Don't think it's any mistake, because who knows? You could be helping to save someone's life. Heck, you might even be saving your own. And here this go, Miss Kayla, just going about her way and taking time to see somebody else and therefore noticing when things are different. Because I can tell you right now, how many of you stuck on your phone? I can tell you right now, you stuck on your phone? How often do you look around and notice the different things around you? When do you tap in? Could you imagine if Kayla was just so aloof in her own world, saw that the lady wasn't there, but I'm gonna mind my business and not even worry about it? This lady could be gone. So let us take time to just pay attention to people. Take time to see people. Take time to check on them and ask them if they're okay. You know, we've had some recent deaths. You know, you have Regina Hall, her son. You have the former Miss USA. It's serious out here. Take time to check in with somebody. Just like you check in with yourself, check in on other people. We got to check in with each other. Okay? Because oftentimes, you know, we can miss an opportunity when we don't stop and pay attention. Okay. Now, here's something I want to say too. Since we're talking about paying attention, it sounds like the New York City public schools are now paying attention to health and how important that is.
Hey everybody, it's your favorite play cousin, Junior.
Hey, what's up? This is Damon Kelly, and you're tuned in to the Vitamin D podcast.
Get your daily dose of vitamin D with my girl, Dawn Dai. There it is.
So New York, they have now started to implement a vegan Friday. Yeah. So for so long, I don't know about you, if you've gotten hot lunch, you get your pizzas, you got your chicken tenders, you might have your cheese sticks and all this other jab. Well, it sounds like New York is taking a stance on just making a healthier life for the students. Now, the New York City mayor, who's Eric Adams, he's vegan and has touted that health and environmental benefits of a plant-based diet are beneficial. He says, in one voice, we talk about fighting childhood obesity, diabetes, yet you go into a school building every day and you see the food that feeds our healthcare crisis. Hello? He goes on to say, and the children have been calling me and saying they want better food in school. I'm going to do the best that I can to give them the options of a healthier diet. And can I add personally of a healthier life? Now, what he said was, as far as his own testimony after converting to a vegan diet in 2016, is that he's been able to reverse the effects of type 2 diabetes, including the loss of vision in his left eye, nerve damage in his body. And, he wrote a book in 2020, Healthy at Last, a plant-based diet approach to preventing and reversing diabetes and other chronic illnesses. Can you clap for that? We need to clap for that. You know that the CDC reports that 1 out of 6 children suffer from the effects of obesity. Dawn Hill, that's probably me. It was me. I am journeying out of it being me as far as obesity. But my addiction, it's no secret, has been food for my entire life. And I love food, but I think it's all about having a healthy relationship. And I think it's also important too, when we talk about beating these ailments, these diseases, this crisis, is that offering options. We just need options. We need to be able to explore, to know what's out there. And for, Mayor Eric Adams to take this in his own hands and say, hey, let me show you something to help me. Talk about lifting while you climb. Talk about reach back and pulling forward. Shout out to Mayor Eric Adams. This is amazing. This is dope. I think that we should start doing this thing nationwide. Why not? It's only going to help, right? Yeah, I'm with it too. I'm completely with that. I love it. Freaking love it. And you know what else I'm loving right now? I'm loving how we about to do my Wheel of Inspiration. I done told you we're not in the studio, so let me spin the wheel. Wheel, where it stops, nobody knows, but we're going to flow. Now, you understand, we got this word is going to pop up, and I'm just going to tell you what comes to my mind. Now, the word that pops up is willpower. First of all, I was going to tell you, I just saw the word as 2 separate words, will and power. Your will is what gets you going. Your will is your why. The will is why you're doing what you do. But see, it's something else when you couple it with power. There's an energy force behind it. It's the gas to the vehicle. It's the electricity to the circuit. It's the motion in the ocean, if you know what I mean. No, but willpower is important in everything that you do. You've heard people say when there's a will, there's a way. What's the willpower that you have for yourself? What do you want? I was singing this entire time, Tupac's song, How Do You Want It? I was kept singing, how bad do you want it? And I think that's what your willpower says. How bad do you want it? And then that's when you can ask yourself, how does it feel? Because it ain't going to be easy, but the willpower is having the will and putting the power behind it. So I hope that you do that with yourself. Yeah. Understand why that's important to you and for you. Okay. Chew on that word for a bit. Now that we're closing out on that, I want you to email us if you want to be on the show. Or perhaps if you want to tell me about a topic or somebody that should be interviewed, I want to hear from you. Go ahead and send an email, VitaminD@DawnDaiSpeaks.com, okay? And if you need some advice on your relationships, on your career, about life, about whatever, anything, send me an email, VitaminD@DawnDaiSpeaks.com. I give my advice, but I keep it real with you. Vitamin D is all about shedding the light on the good and the bad, because if you want to be better and you want to do better, you have to be able to see better. Okay? So that's going on the nooks and crannies because I want the best for you. So I'm going to keep it real with you. So email me and I'd love to give you some advice. I feel like we need to go in the bag, and perhaps we'll have an episode coming up soon with an advice letter. Okay? Also, if you enjoyed the podcast, make sure you tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody else to check out Vitamin D with Dawn Dai. We're available wherever you get your favorite podcasts. I'm risking my dreams on this. No, this is not about risking my dreams. This is my dreams. They say the greater the risk, the greater the reward, and I'm here. I started under a comforter, and now it's Vitamin D in Studio E. Now I'm at home, and I got all my equipment set up. I can't wait till I'm going to broadcast to you on my yacht. I can't wait. Soon come. But yes, tell everybody that wants to get motivated and want to get inspired to check out Vitamin D with Dawn Dai. And while you're not listening to the podcast, you can follow us on all social media. VitaminDDawnDai. Okay? I want to hear from you. We got clips of the interviews. We got memes. We got pictures. We got whatever you need. And if you want some vitamin D outside of the vitamin D, like the source of the vitamin D, aka me, well, you can follow me on all social media at Dawn Dai Speaks, okay? All right? All right. Well, I can't wait to hear from you. I'm looking forward to growing and sharing and blossoming and making room and vulnerability and all that good stuff. I told you I'm going to be here for a long time. Let's get to know each other. All right, well, that's it for this episode of Vitamin D. You know I always say I'm in the business of making dreams come true. And I damn sure ain't gonna forget about mine. So until next time, always remember, you are your greatest asset.
Get your vitamin D right here with me and get excited about your life.